Let's predict the USA versus Paraguay game that is coming up in about 3.5 hours. Now, I'll be asleep by then, but these are more or less what is going to be my predictions. Just give you my thought process on what I think. And it's going to be a big game. So USA versus Paraguay is the first game of Group D, and I do believe the reason why we are not having the game for Qatar versus Switzerland now is because the host countries, that is Canada and Mexico, have already played their first game, and now the USA needs to play their first game. So this is the game that is going to be there, and more or less it's team number 17 versus 41 according to the FIFA rankings. And I expect an exciting game like what we had in the Canada versus Bosnia game. All the 5 predictions I made for the Canada versus Bosnia game went through, and it's good to see that. Now, for this game, it's going to be a little bit tricky. As we can see here, let's just see a quick preview here on Flash Score. They're going to be Los Angeles, and you can see advanced to the round of 16 in 1994, should fancy their chances, and of a similar result after making the knockout stages in each of their last 3 appearances. Yeah, I do believe they do have a good squad right there. Paraguay has won their last 3 matches, and an impressive CONMEBOL qualifying campaign where they finished on level points with Colombia, Uruguay and Brazil, while boasting second best defensive record. So it's good to take a note of that. Gustavo Alfaro's side struggled to make an impact on the other side of the pitch. That is, scoring was an issue for Paraguay. Now, as you can see, the probabilities are about 39 to 33. They are more or less leveled up to each other, but I expect to see Christian Pulisic, Balogan do a lot of things in that field. And if this game replays what we might have or what we had in the Canada versus Bosnia game, then it's going to be a pretty exciting game to watch as well. Now, if we do like a head-to-head, Canada and Bosnia have never met, but as for the USA versus Paraguay, they met for a friendly last year in November, and it turned out to be a 2-1 kind of score. There were yellow cards in the first half, and also in the second half. One was not on pitch, so it seems like it's more or less like a heated type of game, if I'm not so mistaken about this. If we look at the statistics, the shots were limited in this particular game, and probably the reason for that is because there were early goals, and also it's a friendly right there. So they already know how they play. Shots on target 4-3, corner kicks 5-8, so probably the corner market might be a good one. Yellow cards looks like a good market as well. And then we've got the free kicks. Specifically, I'm targeting the fouls, 13 to 11. That is a good one, but the refereeing this particular game, in charge of this particular game, is a referee from the Netherlands, and he does not give fouls. More or less, he does a lot of play-ons, which I'm not so sure we are going to actually have fouls, enough fouls in this game, but we'll have to see. So we can kind of try and see this particular, like the first half. There were shots in the first half, 7, and then as for fouls, the game had about 17 fouls in their friendly, and about 19 throw-ins. Now, the only thing I've noticed is that due to the 5-second kind of countdown for throw-ins, the game between Canada versus Bosnia had a good number of throw-ins. Now, how has USA performed versus Germany in the other head-to-heads? Let's just look at 3. They scored versus Germany. It was a friendly game. They had 16 shots. They committed 11 fouls. They took 24 throw-ins. USA versus Senegal, they scored 3 times. They conceded twice. They took 17 shots. And I watched this game, and this game they actually committed a ton of fouls. They committed about 21 fouls. So I can remember that. The USA versus Portugal, they lost to Portugal. And as you can see, they had 12 shots. And then they committed about 15 fouls and had about 13 throw-ins. Now, as for Paraguay, we've got Paraguay right there versus Morocco versus Greece. So Paraguay versus Nicaragua, they actually won. They had 17 shots. That's good to see. And they committed about 9 fouls and took about 18 throw-ins. As for Morocco versus Paraguay, they lost but took 11 shots. And then we have they committed about 11 fouls, and then they got about 22 throw-ins. Now, between Greece and Paraguay, Paraguay won. They took 9 shots. They committed at least 11 fouls and had about 19 throw-ins. Now, based on that simple glance for that, a couple of markets are exploring this particular game. I do have a feeling. Let's go to the match. This particular one. I do have a feeling that Paraguay will get at least 15 throw-ins. Let's see what the market looks like for throw-ins. Let's see, specifically throw-ins for Paraguay. The threshold is a little bit high because they're saying 16.5 at 1.3. I'd kind of avoid that market for that particular game. As for, it's the same for the USA. What about shots? What are they saying about shots towards goal? Now, I know these two teams had 16 shots towards goal. And the way the bookmaker kind of looks at things is how have they fared on in the previous games. Now, if the USA does not score early, then they'll be pushing for a win, and they'll actually keep coming. And they have an odd of about 1.41 to get at least 12 shots. In the Germany game, they had about 16 shots. In the Senegal game, they had about 17 shots. In the Portugal game, they had about 12 shots. I have a feeling the USA will get at least 12 shots towards goal in this game at an odd of 1.41. And if Paraguay score fast, there is a high probability of the USA getting at least 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 shots towards goal. That's a high probability right there. So for this game, I'd kind of lean towards the shots. And then I do have a feeling they're undervaluing Paraguay in this particular game because they are kind of putting Paraguay to get at least 8 shots towards goal at an odd of 1.5. I have a feeling they'll get those 8 shots towards goal at an odd of 1.5. So those are more or less like the preliminary markets I have there, because, for example, like in this game, they had last year, they had 8 shots. First half, 3, that's okay. And the summary, yeah. I have a feeling Paraguay will get at least 8 shots in this particular game. Every team is out to win, but more or less the home crowd is going to be backing the USA fully, so I expect them to get at least 12 shots towards goal in this game. Now, as for the fouls market, let's see, for the first half, they are a little bit sketchy, and the reason why I'm saying they're sketchy is because if I look at the full page view of this, I mentioned earlier Danny Makele from Netherlands. You can see his average cards is 3.4. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've watched a couple of games from the Netherlands, and they rarely give a ton of fouls. So this particular one is a very, very tricky market right here. If we look at this game, Alexa versus Volendam, statistics, the game ends at full time, 17 fouls. First half, 9. So it's a really, really tricky game right here. But based on also what I saw in the previous game, like the Senegal versus the USA versus Senegal game, the USA committed a good number of fouls. So there are also chances they might get that because they're under a lot of pressure to perform on home soil. They're at least hoping to advance to the round of 32. That is something I'm kind of also looking into. But the only issue I have with the fouls market is the referee. Danny Makilei does not really issue a ton of fouls. He kinda waits for play-ons and all that, and also some of them, because players are a little bit crafty, he may actually do another play-on as well. You can see the game between Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal. They had about 18 fouls. But now, when you look at the USA versus Paraguay game, they had about in November, a couple of months ago, the stats incline towards, especially for the first half, they had about 17 fouls. So that also throws you a little bit off. And I do believe they might actually live up to this. The only issue might just be the referee. I don't know if he has refed any, an Italy versus North Ireland game this year. So how did they fare on? Italy dominated. There was one yellow card in the second half for Italy. What are the fouls? The fouls are 11-8. What about the first half? 8 fouls. Now, this one is going to be tricky. I'd kind of avoid the fouls market for this game. Although, based on the pressure the US is going to be in, especially if Paraguay score, this might end up being a game that's going to have a good number of fouls. As for the throw-ins, I've kind of avoided it. Also, something I've noticed with the hydration breaks, they are really interfering with the flow of the game. So that's something I've noticed. It's just that the weather is hot and all that, that they do have to have dehydration breaks for during the game. But my only predictions for this one in this particular game is just for the shots towards goal for both teams. At least we get the USA getting 12 shots towards goal, and for Paraguay to get at least 8 shots towards goal. So yeah, those are my predictions for this particular game. If your bookmaker supports shots towards goal, this could be a market that you can try and explore, and it's going to gauge your predictions. How good are your predictions? So that's it. See you in the morning for a recap.